This is RJ Wellington, and you are listening to Mastering Timelessness in the Multiverse. This recording is being produced on July 22, 2022, in your Earth's calendar. The reason why I am talking about this topic right now is because lately you might have seen a lot of talk about timelines changing, being affected, especially after the last activation of CERN. And that was true. There was some experiment there that made some changes in timelines, but many people spoke about this, many people gave interviews about this, so do your own research and make your own conclusions. My main objective here is to explain you, to try to explain you the concept of timelines and the multiverse from a neutral position. And when I mean neutral, is with no religious or quote-unquote spiritual attachment. In my private training, I teach my students how to enter or access the so-called fourth dimensional realm or fourth density. I call it fourth dimensional living. And actually I have a video in this channel. If you search, you'll find I have a video called Fourth Dimensional Living that I think I recorded like 3 years back. So, again, there has been a lot of talk about the timelines. Some of them contradict each other, and I will be giving you my view, my perspective, from my own experience and from what I have been sharing with my students throughout so many years. The first topic I wanted to clarify is the idea of the fifth dimension, because there has also been a lot of talks, including books written about this, videos, interviews with people saying that we are jumping into the fifth dimension. And at some level, if we think rationally, we must remember that in between the third and the fifth, there is a number. There is a fourth dimension. And the fourth dimension, I myself consider the gate, that door that we have to cross from third dimension to fifth dimension. Fifth dimension is the dimension, for example, of the Arcturians. Many advanced extraterrestrial civilizations and many interdimensional beings that contact us, they are in the fifth dimension and even above that. But for us, for planet Earth right now, we are not necessarily entering, but we are in that transition. We already entered that a while ago, but we are transitioning into the fourth dimensional, I would say, realm or reality. Now, of course, our higher selves is already experiencing all dimensions in the time-space continuum. You have to remember that what some people call your avatar, here, now, you who are listening to me, is a portion of your higher self, which is, again, experiencing all dimensions. But your current focus of attention, especially for those who are I would say, practicing any valid so-called spiritual or metaphysical discipline, your focus of consciousness is really, I would say, bouncing in between 3 and 4D at this moment. And how would you know, how would you identify that? Well, a few days ago, some of my students in one of my inner circles commented that they are experiencing a so-called time acceleration, as if one day is going by much faster, like the week feels like 2 or 3 days. And I believe if you are listening to me, if you were attracted to this video, to this presentation, you might be experiencing that as well, that perception. Why it is a perception? Why I call it a perception? Because if you care to, you can do that experiment. If you sit down for 24 hours straight, looking at a clock ticking, each second is still going to tick as a second, as before. 1 minute will be 60 seconds. 1 hour will be 60 minutes. 1 day will still be 24 hours. Because that is a construct in the matrix, time. And I will explain why. But for some of us, it is our perception of time that is changing. Because again, time is a construct that never existed, and that's why we call time an illusion. Because think with me, if when you were born, you came into a world in which 1 hour was the equivalent of what is 3 hours today. If 1 minute had only 30 seconds instead of 60, if 1 year was classified as what we classify today as 6 months, you would live double the number of years, right? If you were to live 85 years, you would live 170 years just by a change made by humans. So our calendar was invented. The clock was invented. And again, what is changing is not the construct of time that will always be there, but it is basically our perception. And it is good. Some people say time is going too fast. I'm getting old. I mean, losing time. No, because I remember many years ago, this multi or interdimensional being, Elan, he said, if for you 2 hours feels like it has passed in 2 minutes, it means that your physiology, your atomic structure, your body has aged only 2 minutes within those 2 hours. Now let's multiply it. I see like this. If to me 1 week seems to have passed in my perception in 2 days, my body receives that impression, and I have aged only 2 days in a whole week. If you feel like 1 year has passed in 3 months, you have aged only 3 months in a whole year. You get the point, right? And that is one at an advanced level that I will not be exploring here. That's one of the secrets to stop aging or greatly, at least greatly decrease the aging process. And that's why some civilizations that live beyond the 4th dimension or master the 4th dimension, they can live hundreds and thousands of years. But that is the secret, the perception of time. Now let's talk about the fourth dimension, or the fourth density. I would call it the place of magic. From my experience and most of my students' experience, that is the dimension where magic takes place and affects the 3D, which is one, let's say, level below. That is the realm, once it is mastered, of course, of instant manifestation, rejuvenation, as I mentioned before, changes like, as for example, with my students, I teach them, or we have processes for eliminating a lifelong trauma, even a lifelong disease, by raising above the 3D and working on the 4D. And I will explain you the how it happens. Again, the fourth dimension is a dimension of magic and instant change. Once we master it. Because if you think about it, what makes your goal appear far away from you? Let's say you have a goal right now, a dream, an objective, and you feel like it is so far away. What is the element that separates you from your goal? If you say time, you are right. Now, to understand the concept of time in the fourth dimension, we must understand the concept of the multiverse or parallel realities. In quantum physics, they call it the many worlds interpretation. And I will try to tie things together. I know this is a very deep subject, but I will try to tie things together so you finally understand the connection between the multiverse, parallel realities, and timelines. And I think the best way of doing this is by giving you an example or a metaphor. I know it sounds crazy, but don't turn the video off yet. Hopefully by the end of this, you will at least intellectually understand the connection or the point, and you make of that whatever you want. So, let's say for example, you are listening to me now, sitting in your living room, and you decided to go to your kitchen to get a glass of water. Now, and there comes I would say the most amazing function in this universe, if you will. That version of you in the kitchen is there already. Even if you're still sitting here, listening to me, the moment you think of going to the kitchen to get some water, that version is there. And not that you create that version right now. It is always there. It has always been there since the beginning of time. Now take a deep breath. This is very deep, if you see the implications of this. So again, you are here right now, wherever you are, sitting or standing or jogging or walking in the park. But the version of you that is back home or that is taking a shower 1 hour from now is now, at this moment, doing that. Clear? So now, the big question, if all these versions exist, what keeps you from experiencing being in your living room and in the kitchen at the same time? What keeps you from experiencing, for example, being poor and rich at the same time? Being sad and happy at the same time? Now, the glue that connects things, or that makes sense of this many words theory, with everything happening, or the eternal moment of now, as some people call. What separates these frames? It is time. Someone said, I don't know if it was Einstein or someone else, I don't remember right now, someone said that time exists to keep everything from happening at the same time. Because again, you have to understand the concept of an infinite universe with all being there simultaneously. That's why they call the eternal moment of now. And I agree with you. It is not easy to grasp this concept if you think of a timeline that goes from today to 1 year from now, from point A to point B. I finally realized that concept a while ago, and I will tell you how. When I was in my early 20s, at some point one day I was doing some practice. I was just going in and quieting my mind. I was never heavy into any type of meditation, maybe because I don't need that at this level anymore, but it was many years ago in the same place that I am now. I've been living in the same apartment for over 30 years. And this day I went to my bed, I was relaxing, that's what I call interiorizing, being in the now. And suddenly I had what some people may call a samadhi experience or nirvana. I call it experiencing the cosmic mind. And in that state, I knew I didn't just learn, or I had to go after. It came to me, the experience of timelessness. I don't know if it took a few seconds or a few minutes, because I didn't have a clock besides me. And even if I had, I wouldn't dare open it, leave in that state to check the time. But it really didn't matter, because even if it took a few seconds, I experienced it all the time, all the space. I knew all at that point. And again, as some of you listening to me might have had that experience, because once you go through that, you don't come back the same person. It is, I would say, probably 1,000,000 times more powerful than a near-death experience. There you have that feeling of omnipresence, omnipotence, and omniscience. That's why I call it the cosmic mind, the mind of God that you experience. And again, needless to say, before that, I had many years of studying, practicing, even teaching. But after that experience, I changed completely. And I understood all these concepts that I'm trying to share with you right now. So let me give you another example about the multiverse. In the frames, what I call the frames theory, which you also can call infinity. And that's what is meant by infinity. Imagine that you have a DVD, a disc, with thousands and thousands and thousands of chapters of a series that you like. Now, when you take that DVD and put in your player or in your computer, you can choose a point. Let's say you want to watch season 20, episode 5, and it will be there. You can even go at a specific moment of that episode that you like. But if you want to choose season 1, episode 48, it is always there. So that's why we call frame theories, all realities superimposing each other forever, for eternity. That is the concept of infinity. All is existing at the same time, and you are perceiving, especially because this quote-unquote trap into the third dimension, you are perceiving a sequence. But the Bible says, I'm the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, which means everything is included there. There is nothing out of this infinite consciousness. That is everything. And again, I'm talking from my personal experience. And once you have that experience, you don't really care about what other people say, other people think, or what other people try to convince you of. You know the reality beyond, way beyond this three-dimensional reality. Another example I can give you is the other day I was watching someone else and they remind me of a movie that I watched a while ago. It's called Jumper. In this movie there is this young guy who is able to jump, and in a couple of scenes he's in his apartment. So he's in bed and he starts walking to the kitchen and zoom, he's right there in the kitchen. The example I gave you before. Okay? So that's what some people call teleportation. That is the technical term. Teleportation. But what is really teleportation and why is it possible? Because of the multiverse. You are really jumping, and there are many. There is also a lot of talk about wormholes. Each one of your, I would say, atoms can be a wormhole or a portal. It is all around us. It is in the light that keeps this movie going. So again, teleportation is possible because of this theory of multiverses. So right now, again, you are in your living room, for example, and you want to be in your kitchen. It will take you, let's say, a few seconds to stand up, to walk to your kitchen. But if that reality is already there, once you reach the level of mastering fourth dimensional living, you could as easily teleport from your living room to your kitchen. Imagine teleporting from New York to Paris, to Tokyo. You would save a lot on plane tickets. That is a potential that we have due to this, to us being a portal, to us being a wormhole. And that brings us to the subject we call manifestation. There are several degrees of manifestation. from instant manifestation, like the ascended masters do. If they think about a dish of their favorite food, it pops up in front of them immediately. And again, several degrees. It might take other people 10 minutes to go to the grocery store, to a restaurant and buy their food. To others it might take several months because they still have to get a job to get the money to buy that specific food they like. And again, what is in control of all this? Time. Timelines. And if you are a Christian, I will give you an example of timeline jumping from the Bible. Let's get a specific one. When Yeshua was preaching to a multitude, I think it was 5,000 people, and at some point he realized people were hungry. They need a break to eat. But how to get the food for all those people? And according to the Bible, Jesus multiplied from one fish 5,000 units. From one loaf of bread, he turned that into 5,000 loaves. What is that but a timeline jumping? Because in the logical way, in a three-dimensional way, Jesus and a few people would have to go to a bakery, if there was such a thing back then, and order 5,000 loaves of bread. He would have to take quite a few people to the sea nearby to fish for 5,000 fish. And that happened. But Jesus was able to jump himself and 5,000 people into a so-called future that I call simultaneous timeline, in which all those steps were not necessary. The same when he heals someone. Probably he took that person into a past in which the disease has never started. So you see the implication, you see the potential, you see the magic of it all. Now, that reminds me of a topic as well about, let's say, predicting the future. It is almost impossible for, let's say, a psychic or a prophet to predict the future. Why? Because we have to take in consideration, let me give you another example. I know how to use the tarot cards. And when I was doing that, I don't do that anymore except for a few selected people. I would tell them, what we will be seeing here is a potential timeline based on your energy in the moment. But I didn't do the tarot as a prediction method. I did it as a therapy, because if I saw something that wasn't aligned with their desires, I would teach them how to change the timeline so that bad prediction wouldn't happen. It's pretty much like, let's say, you are driving in a road and you listen to the radio saying that 5 miles ahead there is an accident and it is causing a traffic jam. That is a prediction, right? Or something that you heard that is ahead of you. What you do? Why is that? So you can leave that road, you can take another road and avoid that. So to me that's what predictions are, prophecies are. There are many prophecies, even from Nostradamus, even from some very good prophets that were neutralized because there are people with a high consciousness in this planet, and we are constantly working to balance things out, to change realities. And I'm not too fond of people who keep selling the fear porn. Even some people in the so-called truth movement. And that's why I'm not involved with that. Because some people keep talking about a third world war, nuclear attacks in some cities, including New York, where I live, and famine, people starving to death. That doesn't have to happen. In a multiverse, there is a parallel reality in which that is happening, I can tell you. But in the one that we are as a collective, especially the ones who are awakening or awaken, we are neutralizing those things. This world should be done with. In the 80s, during the Cold War, there was a probability of Russia and the US in a nuclear war that would destroy the whole planet. And we are able to neutralize that. And the same is happening now. It's more a battle of consciousness than anything else. And you have to remember that is individual timelines and they are collective timelines. And that is very good. Why? Because in your individual timeline, you can do your quickening. You can move ahead in consciousness, expand your consciousness into several dimensions while others decide to stay behind. That is great, right? So I love this flexibility that we have to choose our individual timelines. But the danger of that for those who are sleeping is that they follow the timeline someone is trying to sell them. So if they listen to fear porn from any source, especially a source that they trust, they call a truther, they are engaging in that timeline, and there might be a separation. Some of us may go into one timeline, and other people who decide to stay there, they still have to be in the third dimension, go through a lot of suffering until they learn. So again, you see the implications and power of all this, but it is all in your consciousness to begin with. You have the free will to start mastering time, to start living a more fourth dimensional life that will accelerate you way beyond many people. Or you have the option in consciousness to buy into fear, doubt, and disbelief. What would you choose? I teach my students the first way. I call it playing with the time, with the timelines. I teach them how to instantly travel back in time and heal anything by changing a variable, by changing a timeline, by modifying something in the past that is happening right now. But it's a timeline that they perceived, for some reason they memorized, but it can be changed. The past can be changed as easily as the future in consciousness. So I'll give you some very basic, practical things that you can start doing now to start to change your relationship to time. You have to break that habit. You have to break that pattern of being enslaved by time. That's the quick jump into the fourth dimensional living, if you will. And the first thing I would suggest you to do, if you want to experience the reality of what I'm telling you, you don't have to do I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. I'm just here to help giving you practical tools so you can know by yourself. Not because someone else, or authoritative figure, someone who calls themselves a master, a guru, an emissary from extraterrestrials tell you. But you must have the experience yourself. Otherwise it will be all theories, and that won't be doing too much to you. So the first thing I suggest is for you to realize once and for all that time is a construct. It is an illusion. As I said before, if in the past hundreds or thousands of years ago, a few old men decided that 1 hour was composed of 30 minutes, that 1 year was composed of 6 months, that would be your time now. So isn't that an illusion? Isn't the clock an illusion? Right? Or a construct? So we follow a rule. The only, I would say, nature doesn't function in a timeline. Not even your body. You know why you age? First, because you see everybody around you growing up and aging. And second, because you give orders to your body. When I'm 30, I will look and feel like this. When I'm 60, I will look and feel like my father, my uncle, when they were that age. When I'm 85, I'm done. Because your body doesn't have a concept of time. Time is not built in universal consciousness. It exists below, in the lower fourth dimension and below, but not above it. And that take us to the second advice I want to give you, which is dissociate your body from time. That is the initial step to stop aging and rejuvenation, if you wish. I tell you, no man-made product will keep you young, unless you put the belief, the faith, the consciousness in that product, which is called a placebo. But the true secret, the true fountain of youth that many people look for, is dissociating your body from time. Stop saying that you are aging, that you are growing older. You don't have to. But if you wish, that is your choice, your free will. So again, realize that time is an illusion. It was created by human beings like you, or even worse than you, most of them. Dissociate your body from time. What if you were to say a simple affirmation or mantra? Every second, in every way, I'm getting younger and younger. Try that. The third point, don't be too concerned about the clock. Another reason why time exists in our dimension is, for example, if you schedule a session with me Friday 7 p.m., that is a good way of using that construct, okay? Because if someone says, what time you want to see me? You say any time in this infinite time-space continuum. It won't be too practical in 3D. But what I mean is this. Break the habit, break the pattern. Like if you go out walking or jogging, don't be too freaky about, every day I have to be home by this time to go. Try to get out of that in slavery to the clock. Again, you will use, if you make an appointment, you will be responsible to be there at the time of your appointment. But besides that, we are too obsessed with time. I have to eat at this exact time. Change that habit. If you use it to have lunch at 12, if you can, try having it at 12:30, 1 p.m. to break that dependence. And the last advice is, that was given by many masters, by many gurus, live in the now. I think I have said this before in other videos. Most people live either in the past or in the future, not in the now. Like right now, pay attention to you, to your body. That's the only moment you truly have. This now, and the next now, and the next, and the next. That's why we call the eternal moment of now. Because you can only, physically at least, only live in the now. And the problem with sourcing from the past or the future is that most people have resentments or have bad memories from their past, and they worry about the future. No wonder why they're creating chaos in the moment of now. So living in the now is just taking, at the beginning it's hard to be in that state all day, but make a commitment to take a few minutes every day in different times of the day and just stop and say, I'm here right now. This is who I truly am. Whatever happened in the past is a timeline that I can easily change. And whatever is coming in the future is a timeline that I'm choosing from the now. But if I source from the past to define my now moment, guess what? I will be in that loop, into that Groundhog Day syndrome, always recreating the same states of consciousness, therefore the same results in your three-dimensional reality. So just to wrap it up, I gave you a lot of information, and I don't want to make this too long. We are entering in that transition, and many of you are bouncing between third and fourth dimensional, I would say, realms. The way to master the fourth dimension, so eventually you decrease the time between you and your goals, you get instant manifestation or very quick manifestation, or eventually even doing jumping into timelines, into a future timelines, is by practicing the very basics that I just share with you. So if you like, you can practice. If you don't, that is okay as well. Again, nothing's forced in this universe. Everybody will get there eventually. But the big question is, do you want to get there next week or 5 lifetimes from now? It is always your choice. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this presentation, please share with other people. Someone, maybe it wasn't even meant for you, but you send it to someone who will make good use of this. So don't be selfish. Share, and I will hopefully be talking to you in the near future. May the force be with you, always.